On this episode, we are completely resetting the Miami Dolphins offense. We're going to take a look at the key losses, who was added to the team, and what needs we still have. Spoiler alert, there are a lot. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 305 Gridiron, your source for all things Miami Dolphins. I am joined by my boy Josh, a.k.a. Aqua Ace, over here to my left. That way.
Yep, there we go.
The camera's reversed.
There it goes.
I'll get it right eventually.
No,
I'm Anthony Pinzone, and today we are talking about our offense. How does the offense look after free agency? How does the offense look going into the draft? What should we expect from the draft from the offensive side of the ball? Are there any remaining free agents we would like to see added to the offense? Not a ton out there, if I'm being honest. A bit slim pickings. But let's get into the guys we've lost first. Josh, what do you think about that?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like we're going to talk about these first three players quite a lot more than the rest.
I don't know why you say that. The other ones are just as important.
Sure. Let's go with that. Well, you know what? Let's let the viewers decide.
Let's start with our quarterback of the last 5 years, who is no longer our quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
We have cut him a post-June 1st designation. We heard a lot of talk and chatter over the combine interviews that all options were on the table. That's all we kept hearing, right? Mm-hmm. All options are on the table. We could keep him, they said. Ultimately, that wasn't really going to work out. Tua had already said that he wanted to be out. I don't think that he handled a lot of the situations in the locker room the way that I think our new regime would have liked him to. I don't think that the new regime really prefers an undersized quarterback whose hip is probably disintegrated by now.
Yeah.
So we released him with a post-June 1st designation. He has since agreed to terms on a vet minimum deal with the Atlanta Falcons. He will compete with Michael Penix Jr. for the starting job there. We have talked a lot about this leading up to it. We anticipated it. We had a breaking news show about it. There's not too much else to say about it other than that it left a gaping hole at one of the most important positions on the team, if not the most important position on the team, for about
30 seconds.
Hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say this. Look, I'm not going to go into deep conversation about Tua. You guys want to hear how we feel about Tua? Go watch our shows where we spent multiple hours talking about how we feel about Tua staying, getting released, whatever the case is. What I can say is this, and I don't want to speak for you. I'm not going to speak for you because I kind of know how you feel about players that are on our team that leave. I wish Tua nothing but the best. I was a Tua fan. I was excited when we drafted Tua. I think Atlanta was the ideal landing spot for him. And the only reason he signed a vet minimum deal is because we're paying him $5 bajillion fucking dollars to not be here. Yeah. Look, I don't blame him for the contract. He asked for money. The team gave it to him. That's on the team. I don't agree with how much he got paid. That's not a Tua. A lot of fans hate Tua because of how much money he had or how much money he's costing us. That's not on Tua. No. I think Tua could have done a lot of things differently to protect himself, to make sure he put himself in better positions to be the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. I wish him nothing but the best. And I actually do think he will thrive in Atlanta. And I don't think the competition between him and Penix Jr., I don't think it's pretty close, if I'm being honest. I think Tua wins that far and away.
Yeah, I differ on where I think he'll be. I think he's toast. I think he's either lost confidence or he's way more injured than we know, or something. The Tua we saw last year was an unmitigated disaster.
Last 2 years.
The last 2 years. That yeah. As soon as teams figured out what they were doing in 2023, that was so successful, which was throwing the deep crosses over the middle, having Tyreek go one way, Waddle go the other way, see which one gets open. As soon as defenses caught on to that, Tua ceased to really do anything. Yeah. He was unable to ever adapt to that situation. And then, I mean, he gets Mike McDaniel fired, let's be honest. And that's largely on McDaniel, too. He hung his hat on the Tua train.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept hanging his hat on the Tua train, and he very well could have said after they decided, they were asking whether or not they should pay him, he very well could have said, no, I would like to, try a new quarterback.
Yeah.
He didn't, and it just didn't work out. And I just don't, I was a big fan of his, but I'm also relieved that it's over.
Same. No, don't get anything twisted. I am happy that he's no longer the Dolphins starting quarterback. I was done. What I do think, the reason I said I think he landed in the right spot is because he is surrounded, like legitimately surrounded by weapons at every position.
Right. Yeah.
He's got a good offensive line. He's got Bijan Robinson. He's got Kyle Pitts. He's got Drake London, and I'm blanking on wide receiver 2 on that team. That's also really good. He's got weapons everywhere. And so what Atlanta should ask Tua to do is what Tua was doing in 2023, which was just give it to your players and let them be stars. If Atlanta doesn't ask Tua to win them ball games, Tua's going to be fine. Do I think he's a top 15, top 20 quarterback in this league? Absolutely not. Do I think his new ceiling is probably a top 20 quarterback in this league? Do I think he'll get to a ceiling? Probably not. Because I think, to your point, his hip's gone. He's had 7 million concussions. He's got a bum ankle. He's got a bad shoulder. He's got a bad wrist. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, whoever their wide receiver 2 was that you're thinking of is probably gone now, because their current wide receiver 2 is Jahan Dotson. And that's not great.
Well, okay. Maybe they draft one. Okay.
Next up on the list actually was quite a surprise. Now, I wasn't against trading this player away, but I was surprised that it happened, especially at the timing of when it happened, because I thought it would have happened earlier on. And that's wide receiver Jaylen Waddle, who was traded to Denver for a 2026 first, a 2026 third, and a 2026 fourth round pick. We also had to send our fourth round pick. So it was really a fourth round pick swap, which didn't work in our favor because Denver picks 30th in that round. We picked 11th. So we dropped a bit. So we got a first and a third for Waddle. I think that's pretty good value.
Absolutely.
I do have a lot of questions that I would ask Sully if I had access to him. Mainly because I thought Waddle was part of the core that he wanted to build a team around, and it turns out he wasn't.
Well, and funny you mentioned that.
It's funny, and let me finish, because it's funny because I have been the more of the two of us willing to let him go. Still, though, I didn't really think that he was going to go. I thought that, hey, we have Waddle and Achane on offense as our duo, and then we have Brooks on defense and Chop Robinson to kind of build around, and Jaylen Waddle's out the door.
Yeah, and it's funny. The reason I said it's funny that you said you thought Waddle was the building blocks, so did I. But I went back and watched Sully's intro press conference, press media thing, where he unprovoked, unprompted, called out players' names, and Waddle was not one of them. It was Brooks, Brewer, and Achane. Those are foundational, really, really, really good players, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, that you can build a team around. Jaylen Waddle was not one of them. Then you hear rumors of day one of free agency opening, Miami and Denver had the framework of a deal. It was a first and a third for Waddle. And
I did hear that. Yeah.
Denver didn't pull the trigger. They agreed to the framework, but wanted to sit with it and see what else unfolded. And then came back later to the table and said, okay, but we need something back in return. How about we swap fourths? There was some back and forth apparently. And then we finally were like, yeah, sure. Whatever. Bye. As long as you take all of his money, which they did. Jaylen Waddle selfishly wore my lucky number 17. That was my jersey number in every sport I've ever played. It was my soccer jersey number when I was overseas. It was It was my favorite. It's my favorite number. He's also was kind of a favorite of mine when we drafted him. I loved him coming out of Alabama. I was ecstatic with his rookie year. I thought he got a little shafted to what you alluded to a couple shows ago, stunted by the Tyreek Hill signing.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he was a damn good wide receiver. As the last year and a half has unfolded, as you're well aware, I kind of started to take a half step back on Waddle being a genuine bona fide number one wide receiver in this league. And I thought he was a very, very, very high-end wide receiver 1B or wide receiver, like one of the best wide receiver 2 in the league. And the fact that 4 months ago when we were talking about a potential, hey, what do you think we could get if we traded Jaylen Waddle? I know it's crazy to talk about, but what do you think we would get? If we could get a 2 back for Waddle, that would be amazing. Yeah. And the fact that we got a first and a third, and we kept a fourth, even though we dropped 28 spots or whatever it was, I think that was a bona fide win, as hard as it is to say that when you're losing a talent like Jaylen Waddle, because Jaylen Waddle did some amazing things as a Miami Dolphins. I think he's number 8 in receptions, in receiving yards or something like that. He broke the Dolphins rookie record for receptions, multiple thousand yards, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So very productive wide receiver.
Yeah, I think he's like number 6 or 7 all time on the Dolphins receiver list.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, I know he's up there already.
So now he's going to be opposite Cortland Sutton with Bo Nix throwing him.
Bro, I'll tell you what, that was a hell of a signing by Denver. I mean, they paid the king's ransom, if you will, for Waddle. But
it's funny. You truly know that it was probably an even trade, because all I've seen across the internet is people saying that Miami fleeced them, and then other people saying that Denver fleeced them.
Yep.
And I'm like, cool. So the society's divided on this trade, which means it was even.
Yeah, genuine. I think we got what we needed, and Denver got what they needed. Right.
We also released Tyreek Hill. He is still unsigned, probably because he couldn't pass a physical right now because he tore his knee up in 27 different directions. So once he is able to pass a physical, I'm sure he will be signed fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. Nick Westbrook-Akine caught 8 passes for us or something like that after catching 9 touchdowns the year prior. He signs with the Colts. Good for him.
Signing for him, yeah.
Liam Eichenberg was released, likely to retire, I believe.
Yep.
James Daniels was released, probably should retire because he clearly doesn't love football. And then fullback Alec Ingold was released as well and promptly signed with the Chargers the next day. Yeah,
this one hurt. I know it's a fullback, and people don't really give a shit about fullbacks, but I do. I'm old school. I mean, we're almost both 40.
I'm there.
Oh, that's right.
Last Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, I was a bad friend. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Hey, happy birthday to Anthony, everyone. Let's give him a round of applause. Hit his big 4-0.
Don't do that.
His big 4-0. Your AARP card is in the mail, buddy.
It's on its way.
I love it. But no, Alec Ingold, was a fan favorite of this team, was one of my favorite players, one of my favorite humans to ever don a Dolphins jersey. And I'm glad that he went somewhere warm and, can end his career with the Chargers, who's, maybe they make a run here. I doubt it. But
yeah, I feel like he's one of just a half a dozen fullbacks left in the sport at this point.
And he still plays at a high level,
I was indifferent on this release. Yeah. I do like having a fullback. I like playing old school football, but it was interesting because we didn't really play old school football. We played a zone rushing scheme with a fullback, which I always found interesting. And I liked Ingold too. I thought he was a great lead blocker. I wouldn't really throw to him very often, but he did
what he needed to do.
Yeah, he could sometimes manage. Let's talk about the additions, because I think the offensive side of the ball had much more interesting additions than the defensive side of the ball.
A lot that I liked, honestly.
And maybe that's just because the names are more recognizable because of fantasy football and offense and yada, yada, yada. But let's start at the quarterback position. I mentioned earlier that, we had a gaping hole at the position for a hot second. And that's because we managed to sign Malik Willis, the hottest free agent quarterback on the market. And there's been a lot of hoopla about, did he know that the Dolphins were going to trade Jaylen Waddle? And trust me, I love when the media thinks that the player is owed some sort of explanation, or the player is owed some sort of roadmap of what the team's going to do. The player is an employee of the team.
Yeah.
I could
see maybe if it was like Tom Brady who's
Right.
a 17 bajillion time Super Bowl winner, right?
The owners of my company aren't coming up to me with this roadmap and asking me if I'm okay with it. Uh, and sorry, but Malik Willis isn't good enough player to be worthy of that.
Well, he
So,
might be.
maybe, but listen, it came out. His agent came out and said, I mean, I had these conversations with Malik. He understood the risk of a rebuilding team and yada yada yada. And it's like, that's just the nature of the game. Malik decides to sign here. I think this is a huge get, even though I'm not the biggest fan. I will admit there are a lot of nice things that he put on tape while in Green Bay. So I'm excited to see if he can make anything out of it. I'm just worried about whether or not we'll be able to put a team on the field that he can make anything out of.
Yeah, how I feel about the Malik. I mean, in our offseason blueprint where we each got 8 moves to some of them were allocated to draft, some of them were free agents. Malik Willis was the number one signing that I was going to do. Mm-hmm. And he signed for something pretty fucking close to what I thought he would sign for, which is a little pat on the back. It was getting a little scary there. Because right after we launched and after that live show, there were reports like Malik Willis is going to get 30 million a year, 40 million a year, 50 million a year. I was like, yeah, that's fucking nuts. No, thanks. Like, as much as I like Malik Willis and like the tape that he put on in Green Bay and thought it made a lot of sense because there was familiarity and conviction with Sully and Half with their time in Green Bay with Malik. They knew exactly what they were getting and they know how to build around them. Not at 30, 40, and 50 million. That's stupid money. But the fact that we got a quarterback who has clearly elevated his play on a different team, who went to a team known for very, very good quarterback coaching and development, and has developed as a player, as a young player with tools that you like. I thought it made a lot of sense, and I really appreciated the conviction that the kind of call it 2 decision makers, the GM and Sully and the head coach and Half, really they set their sights on Malik. They knew exactly who they wanted. And you got to respect it. Do I think he is the immediate long-term answer for at quarterback? Absolutely not. Do I think he can put some good stuff together and show that he could be the starter long-term? Absolutely. And a couple players that we will talk about here momentarily at the wide receiver position as adds. I'll be honest with you, based on what Jaylen Waddle put on film the last year and a half, we might get the same type of production from a couple of these guys. And that's I think Jaylen Waddle is the more talented wide receiver. Yeah. But how he was used, you know what I mean? So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, Malik Willis was a big get.
Let's dive right into it. I think the 2 big names at wide receiver that we signed, and I do believe, full disclosure, we still need a bona fide one.
For sure. We need a bona fide one and maybe 2.
These are all role players. Yeah. I really like the Tutu Atwell signing. Mm-hmm. I thought he was just buried on a depth chart over there with the Rams. Mm-hmm. He fits the old size that we're used to. He's only 5'9", I think. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, 5'9", 165. I think I weigh more than him. And then we signed Jalen Tolbert from the Cowboys. That helps diversify the unit a little bit. He stands at 6'1", 195. Of course, Malik Washington returns as well, 5'8", 195. So Tutu, put on some weight, bro. You're 30 pounds behind the other 2 people on this lineup. Yeah. I just want to mention it real quick. We did sign Terrace Marshall Jr. to a reserve future deal. He's on his 5th team in 5 years. I don't think there's much there, but he is a bigger wide receiver if he were to make the team.
Right? 6'3", 6'4".
6'3", 200. Yeah. I would bet that Miami would probably give Theo Weiss Jr. a chance ahead of him, given he was played for the Dolphins last year. He stands at 6'3", 210. He had a little bit, some flashes last year.
I'll be honest with you. If we're post draft and into the season, and Terrace Marshall Jr. and who's the guy and Theo Weiss are getting significant snaps, we failed. The wheels fell off of that train.
These are camp bodies. It feels. Yeah, like. I could see Theo Weiss pushing for playing time, but I don't think he's.
I think Theo Weiss and or Terrace Marshall Jr. are special team contributors, wide receiver 6s, for example, right?
I don't expect Marshall to even make the team.
Crazier things have happened, right? I mean, Maybe it snaps finally into place. I mean, you never know. That's why you sign him to a futures deal,
True.
because it's small money. He was a
True.
second or third round pick at LSU way back when. Maybe doubtful, but maybe. But let's talk about Tolbert and Atwell, because if you're asking me of Tolbert, Atwell, and Waddle, who is the more talented human being, it's Waddle. Not even close.
Yeah.
If you're looking at, what production did we lose, and can one or both of them reproduce it? I'm gonna be honest with you. All of last season's Waddle and the season before Waddle, I think Tutu, Atwell, and Tolbert I feel very comfortable in saying if we have competent quarterback play, both of them can reproduce what we had from Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly easy, if I'm being honest. Tutu is the put him on the outside, run really fast in straight lines. Right. Tolbert was a guy that blew up in Dallas and then got stuck in behind a depth chart with, was it Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, and never got an opportunity because he was like the sixth option all of a sudden after being number 2, after putting up, I think 1,000 yards as the number 2, if I'm not mistaken, or close to it.
610.
Was it 610? Oh,
mm-hmm.
But
7 touchdowns. But
regardless, right? Was a very productive wide receiver when given the opportunity. Yeah. And I think to what we talked about on the defensive show a few days ago, and what we are alluding to now, and what we will allude to at maybe the tight end position here in a moment, these guys are getting opportunities. They're going to get volume because there's no other options.
Yeah.
Right. We will definitely get 1 or 2 wide receivers in the draft, but I'll tell you what, man, this might be a no-name offense or a no-name wide receiver room. And we might be surprised at the end of the year with maybe Tolbert has 600-700 yards. Maybe Atwell has 400 or 500 yards, and maybe a rookie has 400 or 500 yards, and they have 12 touchdowns between the 3 of them or something. You know what I mean? Like, with Achane having 400 touchdowns, so
I think,
we'll see.
I mean, these are 2 guys that kind of had breakouts in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're buried on their rosters in 2025.
Yeah.
I mean, Tutu was only targeted 15 times last year. And then, Jaylen only got targeted, 34 times last year as well. But if you look at Jaylen in 2024, 79 targets, he pulled in 49 of them for 610 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's a fairly decent year.
And that's with bad quarterback play because Prescott was injured.
Yeah. And then Tutu in 2024, pulled in 42 of 62 for 562 yards. He didn't find the end zone, but both really, I think, salvageable wide receivers who are looking for their shot to do more.
Yeah. And understand, let me just refresh. I can already read the comments popping up on this video. Josh thinks Atwell and Tolbert are better than Waddle. I don't.
He does.
I don't. I really don't. I think Waddle is far and away the more talented wide receiver of the 3 of them. But if you look at the role and production that Waddle had in the offense, I know it's a different offense. I understand that. It didn't live up to the talent. I think these guys will live up to their talent and give you somewhat of the same production because they are less talented players, but they are going to, in my opinion, have a better opportunity to live up to their level or their ceiling, if you will, than Waddle did in the last year and a half. We'll see.
I'm just excited to potentially not see 130 screens a game.
Yes,
this year,
both, brother.
And nothing reminded me more of that than just looking up Malik Washington's stats and seeing 46 receptions for only 317 yards.
Yeah, 32 of those receptions were 5 to 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Oh my God, dude! Yeah,
it's infuriating. And the other and we didn't talk about this when we talked about Malik Willis, but to that point, it's going to be really nice to have a bona fide scrambling quarterback that's thick, that has proven year after year that he can scramble very well. He is an athletic freak. He's got a cannon of an arm, and him and Achane in the backfield is and should terrify people.
Yeah. let's take a look at the offensive lines or tight end signings first, then we'll bounce back to the offensive line here, and then we'll just take a look at the depth chart as a whole, so we can kind of take a look at it from a high level and determine what do we still need to fill out this roster. Of course, we're talking about need as we go as well. Wide receiver certainly huge on that list. At tight end position, I'd put this pretty high as well for myself. We did re-sign Greg Dulcich. We brought in Ben Sims, the tight end from he played Minnesota recently, but I believe he was also on the Packers. And then we signed 2 tight ends to future reserve deals: Zach Kuntz sorry,
Ooh,
Zach
careful.
Kuntz
Careful.
and Cole Turner. You don't need to know their names. So looking at the tight end position, man, I'm sure there's not much to go on this, but any.
No, I look, we both said in the offseason, please, for the love of God, resign Greg Dulcich. Right. Don't give him a crazy deal. Give him another chance because he was damn good when he got his opportunities. And I'm glad we did. We need a blocking tight end. Like, whoa. Greg Dulcich is a lot of things. He's not a very decent. I mean, he's a decent blocker. He's not a top end blocker. But he's a very good receiving tight end, which I think is going to be a very good safety blanket, if you will, for Malik Willis. But the other 3, I don't think they'll make the team, if I'm being honest. So
no. I mean, Ben Sims is a blocking first tight end. Maybe that's the guy they've tabbed.
Yeah,
they've tabbed
true.
as their blocking tight end. I still would love to see somebody else.
Yeah, whether that's in the draft or whether that's I'm sure there will be a couple kind of long in the tooth veteran free agents that fall when the team's cut down to the 53 rosters that we can snag for relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, we could talk about that here in a sec. Let's finish out who the signings are. Honestly, the offensive line were some of my favorite signings. We bring in Jamari Salyer, who was told during the signing process and why he chose to sign with Miami is that he would have a chance to be a starter on our team. So we have him currently penciled in at the right guard position. And then Charlie Heck, who is kind of a journeyman offensive tackle, but very good in the rotation. He can swap between positions and really fill in when needed when, Austin Jackson inevitably gets hurt, which is probably tomorrow. Yeah.
Surprised he's not hurt already.
Yeah, we had 2 future signings here too, Braden Daniels and Carter Warren. But I would like to get your opinions on Jamari Salyer and Charlie Heck as well. I actually really like these 2 signings.
Yeah, I think I need to do some more. I know Charlie Heck is like 7'5". Isn't he like massive? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's the same size as Paul, I want to say.
He's like 6'7" or something like that, right?
6'8",
cool.
311.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Those kind of bodies you don't see them often. So
no.
When you get a chance to pick one up, so let's see what he can give you. Do I think he's a starter?
67 games played, by the way. So.
Yeah, a ton of experience, right? I like the signing. I just don't know much about him. If I'm being honest, I didn't go to the All 22 and type in Charlie Heck to watch film yet. I guess
it would pop up. I'd bet.
The Jamari is it Salyer?
Salyer,
whatever. 6'4", 325. Started 40 games. Between for the Chargers after being drafted in 2022. And yes, I'm pulling this from our website. If you are interested in any little write-ups on anyone that we've signed, released, or whatever, it's on our website. Look, former national championship at Georgia, versatile type guard tackle, swing tackle type player. If he's starting for you, questions should be asked about why. Was it a lack of funds? Was it a missed opportunity in the draft? But if he is your swing tackle, and for those of you that aren't familiar with what a swing tackle means, it is a 6th offensive lineman that can kind of play everything, right? So he's the one that comes in when somebody needs a rest. That is actually a really good signing. I was a little more than lukewarm on both of these signings, but the more I dug into Salyer, I was like, okay, I get the vision. It makes sense.
I would bet that Salyer's starting for us in this season.
Oh, at the beginning of the season or at some
Mhm.
point in the season?
No, at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 40 games started, he'll beat out a rookie easier. At least he should.
Well,
You
it
know,
should, but it
uh,
depends because
I
if
think there's a chance he could beat out Jonah as well because Jonah didn't look good last year, and it's a new staff who doesn't really have any ties to Jonah.
okay,
So
okay, let's understand that Jonah struggled early. And
you can't
often.
sit here right now. Hold on one sec. You can't sit here after last season, his rookie season, which was awful, and say that Jonah Savannah is a better player than Jamari Salyer because statistically he's just not.
Well,
Salyer started 40
I'm going
games
to.
in the NFL.
I'm going to.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't
Jonah
care if it
looked
makes sense.
awful. He was statistically the worst guard
he
in
looked-
football for the
He
majority of
looked
the season.
awful for the majority of the season, but if you saw what a shit show this fucking team was,
He
and
was
the fact-
shit.
and the
I'm
fact that he
tired
was
of
a
us
rookie,
lifting these rookies up just
I
because
don't
they're
care.
rookies, man.
I don't
He
care.
was shit.
I'm giving him a break. I'm sorry. I'm giving him a break. If he plays this way this season, I'm ready to
So
admit.
you'd rather be a year too late than a year too early on the judgment of these players?
Yeah.
That's silly.
Some
he
players,
was shit. You got to call it like it is. He was a bad trade up in the second round to take
I
a guy
disagree.
who played awful.
I disagree. Sorry.
Whatever. But he was.
He was for you. He was not for me. Did he
No,
play
but
awful?
he just
Absolutely.
was. Like he was. Like just look at it factually.
Go look at the last 5 games.
The last 5 games don't mean shit.
It does. It shows
doesn't.
growth as a player. And I'm sorry. I know you have a blinder
Bro,
on when it comes to rookies.
From
that suck.
160th
I'm sorry.
rated guard to 158th rated guard is growth in a player. That doesn't mean he's good.
I'm sorry. It does. It showed growth on a
Nah.
bad team that struggled
Right.
with bad leadership.
I will make sure I clip this so when Salyer's
Yes.
starting over Jonah in September, you can come back to this.
Absolutely. And if I am wrong, I will happily eat crow. I
Oh,
will.
you usually are, man. I'm just,
Hey, at
just
least
good
I'm
at this.
honest. At least I'm honest. Look, I die on my hills. What do you want from me? Right? I
All right.
make bold statements.
Now that we have verified that Jonah was terrible, let's move on to let's move on to looking at the actual roster here so we can talk about what do we have at offense. So our starting the quarterback position is looking like Malik Willis, Quinn Ewers, and Cam Miller, whoever the hell that is. It's not ideal.
Wait, say that one more time. Sorry.
Malik Willis, Quinn Ewers, and Cam Miller.
Oh yeah, Cam Miller. Right. I forgot.
Is
about
our
him.
starting or not our starting? That's our quarterback depth chart right now. It doesn't give me much hope that we have a emergency quarterback worth making an emergency quarterback. Maybe we'll sign somebody else here post June 1st, probably. Because right now it's just Malik Willis and Quinn Ewers.
Well, where do you sit with yours? I know up and down, 7th round rookie, very little expectations, but there were flashes. I mean, you even admitted there were flashes, and I don't think he's a starter, but do you think that if we went into the season with Malik Willis and Quinn Ewers, like let's say we didn't draft a Juraller or a Nussmeier in the 3rd or 4th round, and we just were like, we have to focus on other things. We're going to go into the seasons with these two. If Willis goes down, we're screwed regardless of if it's a rookie or not or Ewers. But do you think that he has a chance to be a good QB2 in the league? I think that's a ceiling, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's a starter in this league, but
yeah, I think he showed enough poise and enough, understanding of an NFL offense to be a good backup in the league. I don't know that I'd ever want to see him starting again, but
no. Right.
You never know. I mean, maybe it clicks. I just don't know that he has the physical tools for it. That's the problem.
Okay.
Is that
So if let's say hypothetically we get Nussmeier or Juraller, for example, I'm just pulling 2 names, 2 mid-round picks. Would you want one of them to immediately go into QB2, or would you put them as QB3?
Truthfully, that's a big difference to me because I don't think Nussmeier. I think Nussmeier and yours are kind of the same. I don't know that either of them have the physical tools to be a starter. Where Aller, however you say the guy's name,
Drew Aller, yeah,
he has the size, the prototypical size, strength, blah 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 of a quarterback.
Okay,
and
so let's say
yeah, I still don't want him at QB2 immediately.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he'll fight for it. You can't put him on a practice squad; he'll get scooped.
For sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah, we're carrying 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, you're going to carry 3 quarterbacks. I fully expect that it'll be Malik and Quinn going into the season.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm okay with it because it's a down year, man. What are we gonna do?
Yeah,
What and you can't just. People are always like, this is what gets me about fans. It cracks me up too. They'll always be like, well, why don't you just go trade for Joe Burrow, man?
Yeah. Just do it.
Because guys, teams with good quarterbacks don't trade them away.
Yeah, I mean, look, Anthony, I'm really surprised that we decided to not go after Josh Allen this
It's
offseason.
surprising to me too. You would think the Bills are in the division. It'd be easier to trade with them. They'd want to help us out.
I mean, look, we'll give you Waddle. How's that?
Yeah, right. I mean, Josh is shit anyways, if you really look at it holistically, right? I mean, stupid. All right, let's move on.
It makes me laugh every single time because I'm along with you, like some of the shit that some of us fans, and I say us fans because I've been guilty of it.
I've done it too.
And you're like, just go get Patrick Mahomes coming off an injury. It's like, okay, sure.
Somebody will essentially say that in either our comments or somebody else's comments.
Yep.
Running back position, I feel like it's the most locked in position of the offense, other than maybe left tackle. Devon Achane, Jaylen Wright, Ollie Gordon, and then we picked up a reserve contract for Donovan Edwards. I don't expect much change here.
No, I mean, there have been rumors about maybe Achane being traded, but then those were squashed. I think he's getting a big long-term contract and he's going to be on this team for the next 5-10 years.
I'm lukewarm on that idea. I love Achane, but I just don't know about holding on to a running back for $18 million a year when your team sucks.
But I will say this, and I heard this somewhere. I can't remember who. Sorry, I can't give you credit. It's one of the podcasts that I listen to. Jaylen Wright is a name to watch for us moving off of. Like, assuming we keep
I'd be
Achane.
okay with that, to be honest. I haven't been a big fan of his. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, higher draft pick, was very talented coming out of Tennessee. A lot of teams really liked him. We traded up questionably for him when we did take him. Younger guy, has shown flashes. I could see if we do resign Achane and we have Ollie Gordon and we need to make a little room for a rookie or we want a little bit of cash savings, maybe we trade and flip him for like a 2027 5 or 6 or something. You know what I mean?
It reminds me of the line in draft day. It looks like Tarzan plays like Jane. You would expect this guy with this size, speed, attributes that he has to hit the hole hard, and more often than not, he just hits it like a wet noodle.
Agreed.
Which is unfortunate.
But maybe another team thinks they can get something out of him. Whether or not that's true, I mean, hey, take him. He's yours.
Let's look at the pass catchers as a whole. At wide receiver, we have Tutu Atwell, Jalen Tolbert, and Malik Washington currently penciled in as the starters, with Terrace Marshall Jr., Theo Weiss Jr., Taj Washington, and AJ Henning as
dude.
Dare I say depth. We'll talk about wide receiver more here in a second in the need section.
Yeah.
The tight end is Greg Dulcich, Ben Sims, Jalen Conyers, Cole Turner, and Zach Kuntz. Again, we'll talk about this position.
Basically just Greg Dulcich is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I think
we have no starting wide receivers and we have one starting tight end. Cool.
I think it's going to be Dulcich and Sims at tight end who make the team with a +1. And then I think Tutu, Jalen, and Malik +2 or 3.
You think Taj? You think our boy Taj?
I really want Taj to make it, but Tutu is Taj, but better, I think.
So, True.
It'll be tough. If he can break out more of those Tyreek moves, maybe.
That one move was sick before he fumbled it.
Yeah. Offensive line, actually, I'm not going to say it looks good, but compared to the rest of the offense, it looks pretty good. We have Patrick Paul returning at left tackle, Jonas Savaniah returning at left guard, Aaron Brewer returning at center, currently in negotiations for a long-term deal there. Jamari Salyer, who we just talked about, is penciled in as the starting right guard. Of course, that's an open competition. Austin Jackson at right tackle. Our depth here is Charlie Heck, who plays both tackle positions. Josh Preeb and Braden Daniels and Keon Smith at guard. I do expect Keon Smith may be in the competition for starter there, surprisingly enough.
At guard.
What's that?
At guard.
Yeah. And then Andrew Meyer to back up Aaron Brewer at center, which I think we're a big fan of because he's shown enough to certainly stay on the roster.
Yeah, it sucks. He just keeps right when it starts to peak, bam, injured.
Yeah. So offensive line, it's painful to say because it's never been this way in the past 8 years or whatever, is one of our stronger positions on the offense.
Yeah, and obviously we say that tongue in cheek. Take it through the lens of this is a team that has been ripped down to the studs, that has a historical amount of dead cap, and there's only so much we can do, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, hearing all of those position rooms with reading them and hearing them are two different things in my mind. when I
terrifying,
hear,
isn't it?
oh boy, yeah, we Jesus, I'm sorry, Malik, we did our best, but
We did not.
this is a down. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I think we did, all things considered, I think we did pretty well considering we had $5 in a bag of chips that we could play with. Right.
It's important to remember as well that we have 11 picks in this draft.
Yeah.
And there's going to be another wave of free agency from players who inevitably get cut because they couldn't come to contract agreements or they're no longer needed because of players who were drafted. We are going to fill the gaps. Will it be pretty? Probably not.
No. And something that I'm a little concerned about that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and I don't want to get into money talks, and that's not what the point of the show is, but just to plant the seed in your head, because I will be talking to you offline about this because I'm very curious. Financially, 11 players drafted cost a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Where we have, with the restructures of Brewer and HN, I think we're now for 2 or 3 million-ish in the green. We get 20 some odd million in June from the Chubb deal. But I don't necessarily know if we can afford all 11 players drafted, while also keeping money for the season for when players get injured, while also keeping money for the third or fourth wave of free agency. So I'm curious to see what we do with, if we try to package some of those later round picks to get like, let's say we package one of our 3, I'm making this up off the fly, one of our many 3s, or maybe our 4 and a few 6th, or whatever the case is, insert random late round picks, to maybe get a 3rd round pick in 2027. So we go from 11 to 8 at the end of the draft. I'm not saying that we can't afford all 11, or maybe we trade down from 30 into the 2nd round and get a substantial haul next year's draft that we can then flip a combination of picks to get another 2027. I don't know, something like that. I'm real curious to see financially what this does or how it shakes out, because 11 draft picks costs a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have some work to do. I mean, over the cap has our effective salary cap at negative $7.8 million right now, which means
I don't think that's updated though from the HN. And
well, they haven't signed new deals yet, right?
No, but we restructured, so it opened up money.
It's possible, because it says we have $2 million in cap space, but effective cap space is negative 7.8. I don't know I don't know what the difference is.
I don't know the differences.
Anyways, regardless, I think they just shifted that money for those 2 players as a brief stopgap until they can sign them to longer term deals.
100%. Which will open up a good amount of money because of how contracts are.
And then post June 1st, we'll get a good chunk of money back as well.
Or 21.
Yeah. So I think we'll be okay. I haven't thought about that, and I don't want to get too deep into it, like you said, because we have to talk about our needs still that we want to talk about. But I would actually like to see us trade out of the 1st round back a few spots and pick up another 2nd this year and maybe a 3rd next year, or a 2nd next year, whatever.
Yep.
The
real popular move is Arizona coming back up for Ty Simpson. Is what I'm hearing.
We're in a good spot for that. Mm-hmm. We're in a real good spot for that. And then maybe we grab Jacob Rodriguez there where we trade it back to.
I'm just saying, maybe we get him and Lewis.
Oh man, that would be a hell of a one too. All right, let's move on to needs. Obviously, we have needs across the entire board at the offense. Sans running back. Let's talk about wide receiver though. We've talked about the wide receiver a lot already in this episode, so we just want to talk potential suitors at the wide receiver position. In our last mock draft, which you can find on the website, the 305gridiron.com, head on over to mock drafts, and you'll see that we managed to get Carnell Tate in the 1st round. He fell to us at 11. Now, realistically, I don't expect that to happen, Josh, but we are now regularly being mocked people like Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson, and yada, yada, yada. Now, I don't think we take a wide receiver in the 1st round or the 2nd round. I think the 3rd round, where we have 4 picks, is probably a sweet spot for where we take a wide receiver. But I'd love to get your thoughts on guys you have your eye on.
Yeah, I mean, wide receiver is not our top 2 needs, but in my opinion, it is a top 3 need for this team. I think in order, if you've watched our show earlier in the week, it's edge or corner, depending on who you're talking to, and then edge or corner, depending on who you're talking to, right? For 1 and 2. And wide receiver comes in for me at 3, at least. I don't want to speak for you. And very tongue in cheek, we took Carnell Tate. It was before the Waddle trade. I don't, looking at what Green Bay has done historically, looking at where Sully and Half came from, historically, Green Bay up until 2 years ago, I think, maybe it was last year. I don't remember. I'm not a Green Bay fan. Sorry. Hadn't taken a wide receiver in the first round in like 15 or 20 years.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that, right? They are known for drafting wide receiver. I mean, 3 of their starting wide receivers were taken in the second or third round. So they have an eye for talent. And I think that, to your point, I think the third round is where it is most probable that we take 1 or 2 wide receivers, depending on who's available. If we, in this made up scenario, take an edge or an offensive lineman or a cornerback with the 11th pick, and we do not trade out of 30, and someone like Denzel Boston is there from Washington, it would be very hard for me to not want us to draft him, because at standing at 6'4", 209, he is everything that we need at the wide receiver position. Everything. I mean,
yeah,
Cortland Sutton type, Drake London type wide receiver. And do I think it happens? No. Do I think he's there? Yes. I think Denzel Boston could very easily be there at 30. I just don't see us drafting one there. In the second round, I would look at, if for whatever reason Denzel Boston is there, take him in the second round as soon as you possibly can. Chris Brazel is another option. Elijah Surratt from Indiana is screaming up people's boards. Chris Bell, at least through during the mock drafts, I've seen a lot taken early second.
Yeah, I like him because I feel like he falls in that sweet spot, the 6'2", 220 pounds sweet spot size-wise for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it was me, I'm hoping with one of if we keep all of our picks, and I'm not going to try to make up a trade scenario here to fit the scenario, but assuming we keep all of our picks, if we can land Malachi Fields and with one of our 4 third-round picks, I think that is a home run. I think he has shown at every occasion to be a very good game-changing wide receiver, standing at 6'4", 223 at a Notre Dame. Somewhat lower production than anticipated this last season. But when he was at the Senior Bowl, I think, is that what it was?
He was, yep.
I mean, blew everyone away with one-handed catches, blew the combine away with measurables out the wazoo.
I think he only had 1 catch in the game, but it was a one-handed grab.
Yeah, right. But in practice, I'm not even in game. I'm talking about
in practice he was very good. Yeah,
I mean, he was beating everyone. So, would be a really cool get for this wide receiver room that desperately needs size. Because one thing we do know is that the Green Bay offense requires their wide receivers to block their asses off, and to do that, you need size.
Yeah, a lot of names out there. I think a late name that we've mocked to ourselves a lot is Jacoby Lane at a USC as well.
Yeah, big fan of his.
So there.
Ted Hurst, by the way, is, if you guys aren't familiar, if you're listening to this and you're not familiar, go watch Georgia State wide receiver Ted Hurst. Do yourself a favor.
I'm not a betting man, Josh, but I would probably put money on the fact that we will draft a wide receiver.
You know what? Yeah, I would say so. I would. If you had to put an over under at 1.5 wide receivers, are you taking? So, do you think we draft 1, or do you think we draft more than 1?
I would take the over, because I could see them taking late 7th round. We have 2 7th-round picks. Mm-hmm. Let's take a flyer on a guy. Maybe they don't want Malik returning kicks anymore. I don't know. Something like that.
That's fair.
The free agency pool remaining for wide receivers is not even worth talking about. So let's move on to interior offensive line help. Of course, we signed Salyer. We have Jonah, but that's about it. Keon Smith is there to potentially, compete. So odds are we are looking at the draft, because there's just not that many free agency offensive linemen to write home about. Yeah. I know that you're a big fan of Vega there, but I don't know that he'll be there at 30. And 11, I'm not sure they'll take him there, but they could. I could certainly see him being in play at 11.
Look, I think he is very, very worthy of the 11th pick.
Yeah.
Is it something you and I will be very excited about live on our show? Absolutely not.
We'll feign it.
I'll
be jumping up and down.
Yeah, except
and then crying in my sleep.
Yeah, but do I think that is a type of player that is a game changer, like an offensive line sculptor, meaning somebody you can plug and play on the offensive line and it fixes it? Yeah, I think he's that good, dude. I really do. It's just not flashy. It's not exciting, you know.
Of course, the flashy name on this list is Jennings Dunker, who we like purely for his looks.
The silver star. Well, no, he's a fucking talented player too.
Nothing else.
Talented player, but man, we emotionally refer to him as the Silver Stallion.
I don't know anything about his talent. I just know that he looks like a beast out there. And in Miami, we need somebody who looks tough, man.
Yeah,
we don't have a lot of guys who put the fear of God into the opponent.
Yeah. Right? So let me say that. I'll give you guys 4 names to keep an eye on in the first 3 rounds. If we can land 1 or 2 of them, it's a fucking.
Ooh, can I guess?
Go ahead.
All right. So Vega Ione is 1.
Yep.
Jennings Dunker is 2.
Yep.
Keelan Rutledge is 3.
Yes, sir.
You said 4? Oh,
yep.
Man. I would. The rest of them are centers. I don't know. Who's your 4th?
Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. Yep. 6'5", 320. Hell of a player. Absolute hell of a player.
Yeah. Yeah. Keelan Rutledge, we mock to ourselves quite a bit. I think a lot of fans actually mock him to themselves quite a bit.
He's one of Taylor's favorite players. I mean, and after Taylor ranted and raved about him, I went back and rewatched his film from Georgia Tech, and I get it. I understand it.
I am supremely interested in the idea of us taking a center that we went through in our last mock draft episode.
If you haven't seen it, is that who it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the last mock draft, so the last one is on the website, but we also did a video on it. Go check it out because we have a very interesting conversation around whether or not Miami should take a center and whether or not we should pay Aaron Brewer. Really good convo there.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll have to go to that episode to watch it because we don't want to rehash that. And Taylor's not here. So let's move on. Next position on the list is I'm going to go to tight end here. I know that you had offensive tackle higher, but I'm shifting it to tight end here.
I actually swapped it tight end and then offensive tackle.
There are not a lot of tight ends in your top 150. I don't know where we would even draft a tight end or if we would draft a tight end. But when I was thinking about this episode and in preparation for this episode, you know what I honestly thought to myself? Is we may be undervaluing the position. Mm-hmm. We don't have a lot of receiver talent. We have 1 pass-catching tight end, and we have a young quarterback. What's the young quarterback's best friend?
Achane?
The tight end. Well, Achane, too. But then look what Green Bay has at the tight end position over there.
Dude.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I could see these guys actually going tight end sooner than we think.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to say this a tad bit tongue-in-cheek, but at 11, if Sadiq is there, bro, I know it doesn't fill a big need, but he would solve the pass-catching problem, and he would solve the blocking tight end problem because he does everything.
Yeah.
He's more of a receiver than a blocker, but he does everything. Very much that George Kittle, Dalton Kincaid type prototype player. Except built like a Greek god. And it would be very fitting for us to fix the mistakes of yesteryear when we passed on Warren by taking Sadiq at 11. Now, do I think that'll happen? Absolutely not. Do I think Sadiq will even be there? Absolutely not. I think Sadiq goes before in the top 10, if I had to guess.
Really? Yeah, I don't think he does. I don't think he does.
I don't think he should.
No.
But I think a team is going to be so enamored with his talent that he can basically be a wide receiver and a tight end and a blocking tight and an offensive lineman that, you know, they don't grow on trees. They don't come out often. He's that kind of talent.
I don't know if he's as good as Loveland and Warren last year, though.
I think he challenges Warren. I think he's better than Loveland. I think Warren's the best of the 3.
I'd have him at 3 in that group.
Yeah. But I mean, if we took him at 11, Would you be pissed?
I kind of would. I'm
Would
not in
you?
the same boat as I was last year.
What if we traded down? Like, let's say we traded down to 15 or 16 and we snagged them.
Yeah,
and we
I
got
still
like
would be, man.
would
Tight
you?
end's just so
Yeah.
far down my list of like.
And by the way,
wanting
I'm
to-
not advocating for it whatsoever.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
it's a good question, and because especially since I've hammered the point that we could have taken Warren last year at 13. I'm not in the same mindset this year. As much as I like Sadiq, I don't value him as much as I liked Loveland and Warren more.
Yeah.
And I just think we're in so much worse position now
For sure.
than we were last year.
Look, there is no way that this happens. I was just throwing out a random
I
scenario.
would be open to a big guy like Stowers. Like if Stowers in late second was there. I hear a lot of good things about Sam Roush. I don't know anything about Sam Roush, but a lot of people seem to like him. I'm just looking at size, dude, and all of the tight ends in this year's class have size, and we're going to need some of that. So
yeah, a guy that I would keep your eye on in round 3, if he falls to round 4, is Max Clare, the tight end out of Ohio State, 6'5", 243. Think for those of you that dig into film and don't really watch Ohio State football all that much because you're a Florida State fan, think Cole Kmet, Pat Freiermuth type production, type player comp, if you will.
Speaking of Cole Kmet, there are some rumors or some expectations that he may be released by the Bears so they can get Colston Loveland more involved in the offense. And then, of course, David Njoku is a free agent as well.
You did it. You got his name in there.
I do believe, I don't know how we would be able to afford either one of those players. But if we were to go after either one of those players, I'd be pretty happy about that. I like both of them.
Same. Yeah. I do too. I think, Njoku is the boomer bust, right? If he can stay healthy, he's a top, 5 tight end in this league?
Yeah. Tight ends
problem.
Suck, so yeah.
The problem is he can't stay healthy, which has been the
he
bane
lost
of
his job to Harold Fannin Jr. last year because he couldn't stay healthy.
I have a very big soft spot for Cole Kmet. He's one of my favorite players. He's not a huge production guy. He doesn't have a big role. Like I just like him as a player. I think he's got a ton of talent and he's just untapped.
I have another question for you at the tight end position because I agree on Cole Kmet and I would love to bring him in, but he's not even free yet, so we don't know what that'll.
Sure, of course.
But in terms of budget options, we know that these guys come from a background where $4 million is the cap on a 1-year contract free agent.
What do you mean, like Green Bay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This the place where they were all trained, like who they were under the tutelage of. The mindset was 1-year free agents, $4 million cap, right? I don't know if he'll fall in that range. Actually, I don't think he would. But would you be open to bringing Jonnu back?
No.
Really?
Yeah. No.
It's the same offense that he was super productive in just a year ago.
I didn't see shit from him last year in Philly. Or in Pittsburgh, sorry.
But, I mean, that was always an interesting and weird trade to me, that Jonnu was thrown into that trade for multiple reasons. One, Pittsburgh had 3 tight ends they liked. And then they brought in Jonnu and tried to squeeze him into the offense, and it made no sense.
It was because of the season he had with us.
Yeah. And 2, I think Miami literally just threw him in that trade because he was complaining about not getting the money. And they didn't really want to get rid of him.
Yeah. Yeah. And we said when that trade happened, we both agreed to this. So, I mean, maybe you've since changed your mind, which very understandable.
Sure.
I don't think Jonnu will. I think that season in Miami where he broke all tight end, like the majority of the important tight end stats as a receiver, receptions, yards, everything, touchdowns. That was far and away the best season he will ever have going forward because he is 30, 31?
He's going to be 31 this season.
Yeah. I just don't see it. He's not a very good blocker. Which is I think what we need.
Sure. But here's my counter. Our offense is set up in a similar way this year as that offense was when he was so successful. That offense was without Tyreek for a portion of the year. It was without Waddle for a portion of the year. And instead of the third wide receiver stepping up, Jonnu stepped up.
100%.
We don't have a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2 now.
Or a wide receiver 3, if we're being honest.
we're running a very similar offense, just without all the flashy motion.
Hopefully, yes.
I mean, that's Kyle Shanahan's system doesn't have as much motion. I think whatchamacallit stays closer to that. Right now his market value is $7 million a year. We're not going to pay that.
No.
But if he's still there post June 1st and he's getting desperate, and you can bring him in for a $4 million contract, I'd be all for that.
Yeah, I just think it's redundant because I think what he would give you now at 31 years old is what Greg Dulcich gives you. And so if we are
that, and I love Dulcich, but I don't think,
sure. Yeah. I'm high on Dulcich. I'll admit it. I'm higher than most on Dulcich. I think he's a very good receiving tight end. And I think given an opportunity to shine in a tight end one receiving role, he can produce. Do I think he's going to break records? No. Do I think he will be a very good receiving tight end? Absolutely. For us, I don't think he's not a top tight end in this league anywhere near that. But what I'm afraid of is that if, let's say we want to run 22 personnel, and for those of you that aren't aware, that means 2 tight ends. Yeah. You need a blocking tight end and a receiving tight end, ideally. If you bring in Jonnu at say 4 million, 3 million, whatever, you have 2 receiving tight ends that do the exact same thing. You can argue which one does it better, but it's the exact same skill set.
Right. You said it before. We just need talent in the seats, bro.
And I don't think Jonnu's talented. I don't think he's that talented anymore.
He's way more talented than Dulcich. Sorry, Greg. I love you. But but Jonnu is far and away a better athlete than Greg is. And I really like Dulcich. But at best, he's going to be a 400-yard tight end. And I think Jonnu could be a 600 to 800-yard tight end. And especially on this team that has no.
What did he have the year in Miami? 6.
I want to say it was 8 and change.
Was it 8 and change?
Yeah.
I don't think he gets anywhere near that. I think in a perfect scenario where you are feeding him the ball and he is actively part of the game plan,
but that's what he was when he was here.
But I don't think
111 targets.
I don't think he's ever getting 111 targets anymore. Anymore.
He could on this offense because we suck.
Well, but again, this is under the assumption that we don't draft a wide receiver. We don't draft.
But
playmakers.
No, it's not under that assumption because I said post June 1st, right? So like post June 1st, if we didn't get what we wanted on our Christmas list, which is the draft list, and we're desperate for some talent on offense, you can't find a better option than him at this point. Like, even the wide receiver list is just filled with nobodies, man. Like, if you can get Jonnu for $4 million, who cares if he doesn't block? Who cares if he doesn't play? It's like, it's nothing, right? It's a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger contract there. And that we know what the upside is in this very same offense. It's 88 for 884 and 8 touchdowns. Now, I don't think he'll get there either. But if he has 650 and 6 touchdowns, that's a pretty good year.
I don't think he does that either. But yeah, look, hey, if we sign him, cool. I'll support the shit out of him. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Dolphins fan first. Team over player. But if I'll tell you what, that would be an abject failure if we go into past the draft and we're like, hey, we need to sign Jonnu to save our season because we didn't draft a fucking wide receiver. We didn't get a good wide receiver or a tight end.
You're probably right.
That's an abject disaster.
I think Jonnu's better than he gets credit for. I mean, to put it in perspective, Greg Dulcich has been in the league for 5 years. And Jonnu had more yards in that 1 year than he has in his career.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on.
I get it. No, I get it. Look, I get it. I think Jonnu is on the decline. Where I still think Greg Dulcich has a chance, has a little bit more to reach. Do I ever think he'll reach what Jonnu did in Miami? Absolutely not. He was the best tight end statistically in Miami Dolphins history for a season. But I just think that was an anomaly for Jonnu, not an expectation.
It could be. I still like him though.
Be great to have him back though. If I'm being honest, it'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't even know if he would come back.
Fair.
All right, let's move on to offensive. We have to talk offensive tackle and quarterback, and we're running out of time here. So let's jump into offensive tackle. We have Patrick Paul, Austin Jackson, and then we signed. I'm forgetting his name. That's how memorable he was. Charlie Heck. So we have a 3-tackle rotation, which in our eyes isn't enough, mainly because Austin Jackson is going to get hurt walking to the field once training camp opens. And, Charlie Heck is a nice player, but he's a backup. So we need some offensive tackle depth.
Yeah, for sure. I think Patrick Paul is. I know I'm going to get laughed off the stage here. I think he's very quickly becoming one of the best left tackles in the league. Do I think he's there yet? No, but I think he has the potential. I think he's a very, 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 very good foundational type left tackle. So
Agreed.
that position is set. Austin Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, with everything that was reworked and everything, is basically on a reworked 1-year deal where we can get out of it. I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I trust Austin Jackson as far as I can throw my car. Because, even when he's healthy, he's a good right tackle. Yeah. Do I think you can upgrade that position? Absolutely.
I think we even talked about that last year where Austin Jackson went from being a draft bust to having
1.5 good seasons.
1.5 good seasons and being the savior at right tackle, and then just returned to form as the draft bust. Yeah. What an up and down career.
Yeah. And you know what? Look, I really enjoyed the rise because I was so done with Austin Jackson. And I was like, okay. And I kept moving the goalposts and he kept meeting. I was like, all right, cool. Not that he's doing it for me, but just in my head, I was like, okay, but can he do it for 3 games? Oh, can he do it for 6 games? I'm like, fuck, this guy is still doing it. And then back to reality. I was like, there he is. He's back, baby.
He's something. All right.
Yeah.
Has he played a full season? Yes, he's played one full season.
The 1 year. Was that the year that he? No, that wasn't the year.
That wasn't his good year. His good year was 2023. Of course, he only missed 1 game that year, though.
Yep.
So, 2023 was a good year for most of the people on this team.
Well, we were a hell of a fucking team, man. I will say, I think left tackle's set in stone for a while. I think right tackle could be upgraded. And I'm going to be honest with you. If we draft, tell me how crazy this is. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am, but maybe I'm wrong. If we draft, sorry for hitting the mic. If we draft a right tackle in the first 2 rounds, in the first 4 picks, right? So rounds 1, 2, and one of the 2 picks with one of the 2 picks in the 3rd round. He challenges that rookie challenges Austin Jackson, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. It has to. I'm not saying the rookie will start right away.
No.
But
I could imagine like a Max Henniker coming in.
Yeah.
And
at Arizona State?
Beast. And challenging that.
Let's say for whatever reason we get, now I think both of them are better suited at guards, but we get one of Mawanoa or Fano. Both coming out as tackles. I think they're better suited to play inside. But let's say we draft Mawanoa at 11 for whatever reason, and who I think's a good player, and he comes in and they designate him to be a right tackle. He's not going to be a right guard. He's going to play right tackle. You have to think Austin Jackson's seat is like lava hot, right?
I mean, if this guy you'd have to draft one of these 2 players at 11, and if they can't beat Austin Jackson out in camp, then I'm immediately worried. Immediately.
That's a fair fucking point. Okay, let me reach out. Let's say we get, I don't know, Max or somehow Caden Proctor falls, who I know is a left tackle at Alabama, but let's just play this game. Caden Proctor or Max falls at 30, and we take one of them. Still, I mean, if either of them don't beat out Austin Jackson, I still think that's something to worry about, right?
Yeah, I think Cater would have a better chance because he has the size. Max is more Austin's size, so he'd have the same difficulties.
Bro, could you imagine having 2 tackles at 6'7"? Jesus. Yeah.
Poor Malik wouldn't be able to see over the damn line. He'd be like, can you guys get some shorter people in the interior here?
Can we get some mirrors?
Yeah. Put some mirrors above the field.
Or just
floating mirrors.
What is it? Those dash cams on their helmets?
Yeah. Just give me a visor that has all the cameras of my receivers.
That's funny.
God, people would be passing out left and right from vertigo if that were the case.
So what do you think we do at offensive tackle? Do you think can you see some rookie, maybe not to start right away, but some rookie and a veteran, a later seasoned veteran to pull in later free agency rather? Or maybe
honestly,
one of the 2?
This is where I see the 2nd round landing.
Really?
Because I think that Proctor, Lomu, Henniker, and Miller will all be there, or at least some variants of those guys will be there at this 11th pick in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we will have addressed two big needs in the first round.
Yeah.
And I can't get out of my head, dude. As much as the flashy names of the skill positions are shining to me and I want to pick them, I just can't get it out of my head that these first three picks are going to be like the bricklaying of the team.
Yeah. All right. So let me final scenario for you, right? Because I know we're getting long in the tooth here. Let's say our pick in the second round comes around and we have Denzel Boston. So first round, we took some variation of cornerback and edge at 11 and 30. This is under the assumption we're not trading because I'm not doing trades right now.
Yeah.
Second round comes and we have I know he won't be here, but let's just say Denzel Boston falls to us. 6'4" wide receiver falls to us. Jacob Rodriguez, D'Angelo Pons, or Max is there.
What would I do, or what do I think is going to happen?
No. What would like in this scenario? Because you just said, hey, maybe we address it with the second round pick.
Well, because just based on how I know these guys like to run a team, I think the first three picks are all going to be on the line, offense or defense.
Okay. So you're talking maybe like guard, edge, tackle, or something like that, or tackle, maybe like Fano or Mauanoa at 11. TJ Parker or something at the edge.
Some variation of that is going to be the first three picks, I think. And then they have 4 third-round picks to use on skilled position players.
Cornerbacks and wide receivers.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
think
what
would be really cool is if we took Mauanoa or Fano. Let's just say Mauanoa for discussion's sake at 11.
Sure.
We took TJ Parker or Cassius Howell or Kendrick Falk, whatever, at 30. One of them is going to fall. And then we go back and take Pregnon, Emmanuel Pregnon.
Yeah.
Right, guard out of Oregon in the second round. Would you be happy with that?
I don't know if that's what I would do, but
no, but would you, not what you would do, but would you be happy with it? Like, would you sit there live on the show and be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I think, you know me, I hate drafting the boring positions in the first round, but I would have to be like, yeah, they said they were going to do this. I should not be surprised.
Yeah. And look, to your point, they've done every single thing that they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, we will never know where they land with we don't know what their board looks like, their big board. And we won't until the draft.
But just so everyone's aware, they are using the Miami Dolphins top 150 big board currently available for free on the 305gridiron.com.
Yeah. Yep. All right, man. The last position of need we had was the quarterback position. And the quarterback position is just something that we know Sully said he wants to draft every draft.
Yeah.
I don't know that we will bring in anybody from free agency.
Let's talk. I don't want to talk about the players. Let's give the fans 3 names to watch. Middle to late round. Do you want me to go?
I think the names to watch in this draft, and you tell me if I'm wrong. All right. Or unless you want to give the names and I'll tell you if you're wrong.
It doesn't matter. I think they're probably going to be the same names.
I think it's Drew Aller. I think it's Taylon Green. I think I only have 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's fuck. I don't have them on my top 100. I have them on my new version. It's the North Dakota guy. I can't remember his name. Parker, something Parker. I don't know, whatever his name is. In the late round, Drew Aller and Nussmeier, I think, probably. I know you're not a fan of Nussmeier, but
by the way, one of our most commented listeners, D-Dub Dolphins Dialogue,
shout out.
He says that the best developmental quarterback to consider is Jack Strand of the University of Minnesota Moorhead.
Yeah, no, I respect and appreciate your support and love the back and forths and hope we can get you on the show one of these days, but disagree with that take.
Worth looking at. 6'5" mobile, good arm, reads defense as well. I don't know anything about this person.
I do. I'm not a fan.
My two guys are just based on the fact that they're 6'5" or over.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
want to see size there. And that doesn't really ring true with how Green Bay has drafted because I don't know Aaron Rodgers' height, but I think it's under 6'5". And Jordan Love is under 6'5". Malik Willis is under 6'5". So maybe I'm having this arbitrary size in my head that doesn't make any sense.
It's just because it's different than what we've had for 7.5 years.
Probably. Yeah. Aller to me isn't just size, though. He had the tape. He had the tape for at least one full season, and then
he just had a bad team last year.
And I think that's the same for Ty Simpson. I know there's a lot of back and forth between you and me and Taylor on Ty Simpson. He had a really good first half of the year, and then the back half of the year, the team was riddled with injuries. It turned into a bad team mid-season. I think Ty is being unfairly judged, and I think Aller is going to be better than people think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is crazy to say out loud, but I could see a world in which Aller is taken in the third round and ends up being the best quarterback of the group. I really can.
I wouldn't want us to take him in the third round, but I agree.
Yeah. I mean, historically.
Yeah.
And I did this exercise because I heard it on a couple of podcasts in a row. And I was like, I got to go check. If you look at the successful quarterbacks and where they were taken in the draft, most of the successful named quarterbacks were not taken in with the first pick in the draft. They were all taken.
The first pick is historically awful.
Right. They were
all taken. The first round is really good, but not the first pick.
Yeah. They were taken usually 13 and beyond.
Yeah.
Or it was 11 and beyond, I think is what it was. And then some of them were taken in. I mean, there were examples of like the Purdy's of the world that were taken in the 7th round, but in the 2nd and 3rd round. And it just shows you that it's really where the player lands that builds success. Because if a player goes to a really good team in the late end of the 1st round with an aging quarterback and has time to sit and has time to learn the NFL, and he's going to be more successful than the player that gets drafted number 1 overall to one of the worst teams in the NFL. Now, I think Vegas has set themselves up to be successful with Fernando Mendoza. He's got a ton of talent around him at every key position. They got a good center. So maybe that's a success, right? But
it still amazes me every time I go and look at past drafts and see Dan Marino fell, Aaron Rodgers fell.
Crazy.
Like Lamar Jackson, the Ravens had to trade back up into the 1st round to take. Patrick Mahomes was like 15th or some shit like that.
Yeah, say what you want about Jalen Hurts, but he was taken in the 2nd round. I
know Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round.
Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Of course, the most famous one is Tom Brady, who falls all the way to 199 or something.
Brock
like
Purdy.
That.
Say what you want about Brock
Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant.
Right? And look at him.
The only Mr. Irrelevant name you know.
Yeah.
He got a free trip to Disney and he got paid.
I forgot. It's like, yeah, you were drafted last. You suck. Here's Disney. Go have fun.
I would love it. I would want to, if I'm being drafted in the 7th round anyways, take me last so I can at least get the free trip to Disney.
I mean, that's fair. What?
All right, man. That's the offense. That's our roster reset of the offense. Sorry if we went a little long on this one. There's a lot to talk about on this offense, especially at the quarterback position, which is our favorite because it's historically the hardest position to judge in all of football.
I long for the day where we're like, we don't need to talk about that position. We're good. Let me tell you something.
My favorite interviews, I don't really listen to a lot of interviews. My favorite ones are combine interviews with GMs about quarterbacks because you understand just how little anybody understands about drafting a quarterback.
It's honestly, it's a fucking
it is
lotto.
A crap
it's a lotto ticket, dude. It is. It is.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, man. That'll do it for this episode of the 305 Gridiron. Check out the website, the305gridiron.com, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're at 170 with a goal of 250 by August 11th. We need 80 more of you to hit that little subscribe button down below. So really appreciate it.
And if we hit that goal, we haven't said it on a couple shows now. So if you're watching this one and we hit that goal that Anthony just said, we are doing a Dolphins swag giveaway.
Yes, we are. All right, Josh. For Josh, a.k.a. Aqua Ace over here to my left, I'm Anthony Pinzone. This has been another episode of the 305 Gridiron. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, fins up, baby.